We reached 2,000 elo, but can we keep winning? Let's find out. We are now above 2,000 elo and we're trying to go beyond. Let's see if we can do that here with the white pieces against somebody from, I believe, the Philippines. We're going to be starting off with e4 here, and after e5, knight f3. Let's see what my opponent decides to go for. I like to put both knights out early on in the game. This invites a couple of different options. The principled way to play this is this. Oh, wait, bishop b4 is interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a bad move. I have knight d5 as a possibility here, which I don't want to immediately rule out. I don't know if it's necessarily great or anything. I also can play a3 and allow them to perhaps take, which I wouldn't mind grabbing the bishop here early. So a3 never hurts. That's something that, has proven to be true in a lot of my games, is that playing a3, playing h3 tends to lead to positive results. Now here I have the option of playing bishop g5, but let me take it one step further. If they play knight f6, which looks like a move they want to play anyways, I mean, my bishop's not really going to be accomplishing too much. They can play h6, and they'll eventually kick out my bishop in the long run. So instead, let's find a better way forward. I could perhaps consider moving my bishop to c4, now that it has a possible home on a2. It can't really be kicked out by the knight anymore. And now there's the idea to go knight g5, for example, but they'll just castle, and there would be no attack on this pawn because it'd be defended by the rook. So maybe here I'm going to go bishop g5. My idea is a little bit different now. My idea is to be able to take and then put a queen on d5. Although I don't necessarily think that's anything too concrete just yet. I do have to worry about this pawn on e4. So for that reason, I'll play bishop g5. And if they decide to kick it out, I'll probably just take here. Because I don't want to allow this pawn to be taken with no real compensation. Although, hold on. If I go this way, g5, bishop g3, knight takes, I'm wondering if I have queen d5 as a possible move. Wouldn't that just win a knight? Possibly. Let's try it out. I might be. Oh wait, no, I'm missing something. Of course, I'm missing something. I should have paid a little bit more close attention here. Now, the problem is that after Queen D5, there's Bishop E6, and I clearly should have seen that. Now, this move essentially just loses. Actually, no. No. What am I talking about? I can take the knight. I'm being so silly. This is the idea. This is the point. And my opponent missed this. Bishop e6, we got to take it one step further. After bishop e6, I take the knight. And now the bishop is defended. Still got to take it one step further, because now there's the possibility of d5, which is, of course, what happens. And now I got to figure out whether or not I have an approach here. But we can just win back the pawn at the very least and create some really strong central pressure here against the pawn on e5. So I'm playing a little bit too rushed, but that's okay. I think this is the best move. I don't really see any other option. It's good to look for checks and stuff, but I'm just going to take the pawn real quickly. And then we'll just retreat the queen backwards. Do I move it to e3 or e2? That's my big question. I think I'm going to move it to e3, given that my opponent doesn't really have any good control of the dark squares. And I would like, well, yeah, let's go to e3. I don't want to allow any like long-term ideas of bishop c4. So for example, when I castle bishop c4, if my queen was on e2, would skewer my queen and my rook. It's not possible right now because the bishop would be undefended on c4, but I don't want to allow these long-term opportunities. Let's say they ever, okay. They decide to take here. Now I'm wondering if I have the possibility of playing bishop takes on e5 first, which I think I do. The problem with bishop takes on e5 is that after queen to e7, bishop takes, queen takes, pawn takes, they can play bishop takes on g2. Hold on, let's actually look at this properly, because usually discovery ideas are very strong. If I take right away, they'll defend the pawn, right? So this is why tempo matters in chess. I think I'm going to take here. If I get punished for it, then fine by me. But I think the discovery threat is just very, very big. in a position like this, we'll go with bishop takes. They're probably going to have to play queen e7, and then I'm going to take the rook. And my argument is that the rook is worth more than the bishop and the pawn. That's going to be the point. Although, okay, here this is a little bit less serious, right? Queen takes, and now we're going to win the bishop. So I thought I could take the rook. Here, my queen is pinned to my king. So we're just going to go queen takes, and then we're going to take the bishop. We should just be up a pawn here in this endgame. I'm going to go rook d1. We're going to try to trade the rooks. I'm not allowing the rook to step into the open file. I can castle as well. Or can I? I don't know if I can castle, actually. Here, after rook check, it's important I don't step to the side. I should step forward because this f3 pawn would have been covered. So we should get the rook in now. And now, after rook check, I don't have to step forward. If I do, there's the possibility of a repetition. I can go king c1 now. And we're going to get a rook on the e3 on the third rank, where I have an undefended pawn. I'm going to play rook d3, and then I'm going to get my king in. All right, my opponent sees that they can snatch my pawn first. This is actually kind of scary for me. I should have considered this a little bit more. We're going to have to probably put the king onto e1, or I can just try to work on creating a passer. Okay. I think I'm going to have to put my king onto e1. And the good news is that this king can't really infiltrate my position because these pawns are working together. And now I feel like maybe my opponent is focusing on the wrong stuff on the board because I think my pawns are a little bit faster. I can even go king f1, so the king has to waste a move going to h3 instead of being able to go to g2. And then I have to check whether the king can enter the square of the pawn here. I don't think it can, but I have to double check because this is not necessarily a given. Here, there, no, it definitely can. So let me create a nice little pawn chain. King e2, king here, there, here. Okay, maybe I'm messing this up a little bit. I'm definitely messing this up quite a bit. Here, takes, and now here, there. I think I rushed this pawn endgame, and I am simply down a pawn, so I'm probably losing this game, unfortunately. Unless if I can create a passer first somehow. Let's see. If I play d5, the problem is that they just go up or something like this. And then they're going to come after the c pawn. And as soon as the c pawn is gone, I mean, my whole, everything crumbles for me, essentially. So the move logically would be c5, but then afterwards the king's going to get there, and I just simply cannot take these pawns. Maybe I can, actually. Maybe that has to be my approach. But ultimately, they are going to be able to take, go down, and I can't really stop that at all. Here, g4 just wins the game for black. Yeah. Yeah, and I can't really do anything, unfortunately. So this is resignable. So as soon as we hit 2000, we go back down. I mean, I feel like there's a lot to learn for me from this game. Let's analyze, because I definitely misplayed the end game. So let's take a look. What goes up must come down, and come down it did with this game. Well, we played with the white pieces e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and knight c3. And this move bishop b4, it's not bad at all. It's actually the second or third best move according to the engine. It's just that it's a move that allows white to conserve an advantage, which is why I've never really properly looked at this move. Apparently knight d5, which is my first instinct, was the right approach. And here, let's say they just keep the bishop with bishop c5. Now you can actually go with one of the tried and true ideas in the Four Knights, which is to use the center fork trick. D4 forking the two pieces, and here typically the best response is driving the bishop back so that after takes, takes. But this is an inferior version because the knight is on d5, so now white can play f4, and if the bishop goes back to d6, probably even like consider doing e5, although that would be too rushed. But this is interesting stuff, and I don't know why I didn't play this move. I didn't really seriously consider the move. I thought maybe, they can just play normally and then take, and then if I take, they take back with their knight. It's not like the bishop is actually, loose or hanging. But I still probably should have gone for this. Instead, I went for a3, which allows them to equalize, even though I now have the bishop pair. The argument is that development is still in its very early stages, and I can't really exercise the bishop pair advantage. The position is not open at all, which is usually when the bishop pair excels. So my responsibility and my role in this game will be to try to open up the bishop, or the position, I should say. So I went for bishop g5 here, and I was considering whether or not I should trade. So I had ideas of bishop takes, and queen d5, but those don't actually work, and I have to pay a little bit more attention because of bishop e6. And here I saw that if they take this pawn, I have queen d5, and I noticed that, even if they block with a bishop, I can take the knight. Unfortunately, I had to take this one step further with my calculation. I didn't consider the move d5. d5 here is not actually a great move, though. Because I don't have to take back the pawn. I can instead conserve a long-term pressure, and even fairly short-term pressure, I would say, on this pawn, right? Because if I go queen e3, they take my bishop, which is the whole point. I can already take the pawn on e5. It's not the best move still, apparently. I guess the engine doesn't like the idea of going h5, h4 for black, so they want you to go h4 right away. But taking the pawn here would lead to, a considerable advantage, I would guess. Play bishop takes, you can play rook d1, you can castle on the king side. And things look like it's pretty smooth sailing here. So I didn't go for this because I didn't see this initially, and I didn't really think about it too hard. I just thought, okay, well, at least I can win back the pawn. But I didn't realize that I'll be able to win back the pawn in another way if I wanted to. Also note that if queen e3, and if they go e4 here, which looks like it's a nice move because it's a fork, it attacks both my bishop and my knight at the same time. Well, here I could actually go long castles, and now they can no longer take my bishop. If they take my knight, well, all of a sudden this pawn on d5 is hanging, and the attack on this uncastled king is enormous. So it's equal material, and white has literally all the initiative in the position. So this is good for me to learn this stuff. I decided to just win the pawn back, and here is a pivotal moment. So here, bishop takes knight. Bishop takes on f3 was played, and I noticed that, I can take back the bishop two different ways, but I noticed that also my queen is lined up with their king. And so I played bishop takes on e5, and you'll notice the engine, the evaluation bar, just screaming at me for being an absolute idiot because of the fact that they don't have to play takes, or they don't have to necessarily play queen e7, for example. They could also just address the rook being hanging and the discovery ideas with the move castles. And castles is a fantastic move because here I have a queen that is in the same file as my king. So there's ideas to pin my queen to my king and pin this bishop to my queen, which is pinned to my king. So When this happens, I mean, it's asking for chaos. If, for example, I take on f3 with my queen, well, now they can just take my bishop. So that's out of the question. But then you say, okay, well, now I have to take the bishop with the pawn. But if you do that, they can still take the bishop because this bishop is not actually defended. It's a hallucination, this defense. Queen takes is met with rook e8, and your queen is pinned to your king. So this shows you how important it is to consider the move castles whenever you're going for tactical ideas against the king. And it's something that I failed to consider here. Honestly, just not playing my best chess. My opponent misses castles as an idea, instead takes the bishop. So I take the knight, we trade queens, and I win the bishop on f3, and I'm up a pawn in the endgame. Here, what I should have done was gone king e2 right away so I could connect my rooks. Instead, I went rook d1, and I figured I'll be able to bring my rook on the open file. I moved my king to c1, and my plan was to get my rook in the game through the d file, because right now my king can't really step forward, so I wanted my king to get in, because it's important to have an active king in the endgame. So my plan was rook d3, king d2. Now, I just didn't spend enough time considering what happens after rook d3, takes on d3, takes back, and this just loses the game. This move literally lost me the game because the king gets in, and there's just no way for me to keep any chance at promoting a pawn without losing my pawns and while defending my opponent's pawns. So I try to go for creating a passer here. If I had gone too early for like c4, d4, c5, d5, well, the king just simply gets back in time, right? So c5 here, for example, they could even just play c6 and lock everything down. Now, if I go up takes and there's no passer here, I would have to try to go for b4, and now they could just, like, it's just too slow. They can just push this pawn all the way. So I noticed that the threat of the h-pawn was very strong, so I went king f1. The problem is that here, my opponent's king just gets back in time, and I'm not able to create any sort of threat of promoting a pawn in the long run. So I should have known from the beginning this endgame was completely lost. This seals the deal, this move here, because now if I ever want to take these pawns, I'm going to have to go king h4. They're going to go after my pawn. The second I step up to h5, you can promote this pawn, and the king is just too far away. So yeah, I clearly have some work to do with transitioning to an end game, and it's something that I will focus on among other things as I continue to progress beyond 2000 elo on chess.com. Technically, I'm back below, so we'll have to reach it again. Hopefully, it takes me a little less longer this time around. Thank you so much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was instructive in some way. And be on the lookout because there's going to be plenty more chess on YouTube to come. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing. It's completely free. Like the video and comment below. And let me know what you want to see more of. Maybe opening ideas or things I could do differently to make the videos better for y'all. Let me know. I'm all ears. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.